Hello there. It's the new football show every Monday. My name is Wale. It's a new show coming out of the stables of the Way Show. Well, the Way Communications, the Way Media, as it is. So, welcome to the maiden edition of this new TV program, YouTube Live TV program. So, it's going to be coming to you every Mondays at about this time, 8 o'clock UK time. Um, and again, it's called the Football Show Monday. So all we're going to be doing is just talking about football generally. This show is just going to be dedicated to football and football around the world. Football zooming in Nigeria, the Premiership, the Spanish La Liga, the Ligue 1 in France, like Serie A in Italy, and obviously all the local leagues we can. Capture. We will be coming on bringing you news stories. We'll be bringing you discussions about all these places. And regularly, I'll be joined by guests on the show to discuss issues pertaining football. Today, I'm going to be joined by someone that's it's a very known face in whatever we do on YouTube Live. Brian Arashi is going to be joining us all the way from Dallas, Texas, in the United States of America. Barry obviously is someone very well versed in the world of football. He's not just a sports journalist. He is an author who's written several books in football. He's got his own football academy in Nigeria, so he knows the in and out of football. He knows the politics of football. He knows the science of football. He knows the art of football. Bayole, your head must be swelling now. After all
It is swelling
that,
actually.
I am giving you correct Oriki.
You did a great job, bro. You did a great
Welcome, welcome to
Thank
the
you so
show,
much.
Bayo.
Thank
So
you.
nice for
Thank
you
you.
to join us. He's a
Appreciate
new
it.
baby. He's a new baby, and it's first edition. And for you to join us, we appreciate you. And we know regular going forward, you're going to be a regular guest on this show,
I will
regular
do that.
guest and co-anchor
I
on
will
this
always do
show.
that. I will always do
Yes.
that.
So yeah.
I want to say congratulations on the feat as well. This is a very great improvement. We cannot talk about football enough.
No.
And like you said rightly, whenever I hear the topic football, I mean all the muscles in my body they just ready. Probably this is the only thing that I do that I don't read. I don't have to think about it because I'm aware of what's going on. So, and I think that's just what life is all about. Just have to like know what your passion is and know it inside out. But congratulations on your feat, and I believe this is going to be a great show. It's going to impact a lot of people, and I'm sure as the show goes on, a lot of other things are going to come on that you're going to be adding to it. I love the set; it's really beautiful. It shows that it's a football show, and of course, you are in the
Mm.
home of football, the United Kingdom. So, nothing
Yes.
is expected.
Thank you so much, Bayonle. So it's just us. It's just our passion, like you said. We eat football, we sleep football, we drink football, we wake up football. So it's in the blood,
It is
and
in the blood.
so we won't leave football alone. Thank you once again
Yes, sir.
for gracing the show. Bayo, the international break is coming on, and we've got the obviously the Super Eagles are going to be some of them are already making their ways to the camp because we're going to be playing Sierra Leone in the AFCON qualifiers. COVID-19 permitted, permitting, because we've had some issues about some footballers, especially foreign footballers. I was watching an interview with Leicester goalkeeper Schmeichel, Kasper
That's
Schmeichel, talking
yeah.
about not being able to join the Danish team as they play Sweden this for the European Nations Cup, obviously due to the COVID whatever. Do you think with everything that's going on, we should be continuing with internationals, especially with some countries shutting down on lockdown
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Players traveling, players don't have pre-seasons. They're just playing solely for their club sides. You think we should be continuing with internationals at this time?
I'm really indifferent about it, but as an entrepreneur, if I look at it from that angle, and also as a lover of the game, I would say yes. But on the human part of it as well, you have to look at it very critically. Like, how about all the people that is going to be affected? How about the ones that it already affected? In America, as of today, we are counting 240,000 dead people already.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, of course, America is number one in the world. That is an issue for another day. But America being the capitalist headquarter of the world that people call us here, is still running things. Sport is going on, even though at a low scale, and even though some are not listening, which leads to a lot of other vices as well. But if you want to look at it from the entire world context, I think you just have to like say, okay, let us see how careful we can be going on with it for now. But as this morning, there was a good news that came in from one of the leading drug producer, Pfizer, that said they are producing a COVID vaccine that is 90% effective and that will be ready in a little while. So
Hmm.
that's some good news. So if that is out there, then we can start really like opening things up. But in the meantime, you are aware that because of COVID, summer transfer window did not start on time. It was extended for a
Hmm.
long time. Most leagues did not kick off on time. For the first time since I grew up watching the beautiful game, Champions League final, European Cup final, FA Cup final, there were no fans in the stadium.
Hmm.
Even up to now in the English Premier League, no fans. France that tried it to put fans at the stadium, they had to shut down again. So it tells you something that you really can't say yes and you can't say no. And we just have to find a way around it and just keep things rolling.
Hmm. So we got Sierra Leone on the 13th and the 17th of November. So the 13th, obviously, the first leg, and return leg on the 17th. And Super Eagles boss manager Getro announced a 24-man squad. So there have been some people that pulled out. Frank Onyeka, who plays for Michelin in Denmark, has pulled out as the midfielder. So he's been replaced by Shehu Abdullahi, who now plays his trade in Cyprus. And obviously, I think Moses Simon is also pulled out. So we've got Paul Onochu, who plays for Genk, um, coming in to take his position. Looking at that squad of 24, especially well, taking into consideration those that are dropped out, what would you say is a surprise inclusion in that? Who should we be looking out for? And who do you think should have been on that team that is missing, that was not called up?
Um, you remember you remember last time Chris were on the way show, the other show you had.
Yeah. Mm,
And I'm sure you'll probably understand my feelings about the national team on that
mm,
particular episode.
mm,
It's now I'm even having a headache as soon as you mention it because some of, I mean, just look at that squad. Look at the representation
mm,
of what you know while you were growing up. I'm glad you are a couple
mm.
of a generation ahead of me. How you know football used to be in Nigeria. Look at what we have
Yeah.
right now, and look,
Mm,
just let's answer it to ourselves: that are we progressing or we're going the other way
mm,
around? But that is another issue for another day. But I've always said it: if you are not fixing your home, nobody's going to come fix it for you. Yes, most of them have Nigerian names. You can't take that away from them. They are from
yeah.
Nigeria, but I
Mm,
still cannot come to terms with the fact that we are, as a Nigerian, going to ask all these boys born in Germany, in Denmark, in Norway to come play for us. Among the squad that are in here now, maybe about 40-45% actually played football in Nigeria. Look at
mm,
the goalkeeping department. Akpeyi is probably the only one that played at home, that grew up at
yeah.
home. The midfield
Mhm,
department that he put here, Ebuehi is a defender though. Etebo, we all know he played there. The other three that you have there, they have if they have any history with Nigeria, it will probably be through their parents. Look at the defenders. Ekong, we all remember him at the under-17 World Cup when he shone for Germany. Omeruo, yes, homegrown. Balogun, we all know the history. Shemi Ajayi, we know the history. Awaziem, thank God that one is homeborn. Sanusi, thank God is homeborn as well. Aina, London boy. Collins. I mean, how did we get here? That is actually an issue for me in particular. But let us focus on the event that we want to, the games that is coming up. On paper, you would say Super Eagles should naturally go on and just take 6 points. I mean, that has always been due to our antecedent in football and our name and the fact that we call ourselves Giant of Africa. We are still Giant of Africa. I must say, I believe Nigeria is Giant of Africa. The only thing is that the Giants in us had to wake up and then do what we're supposed to do. But papers don't play football no more. We don't know what
No.
surprise the Sierra Leone are bringing for us. So I would just say all hands should be on deck. Do your best, secure the 3 points at home, which is the first game, I believe, and then the second one 3 days later. Do your best away in Freetown, where nothing is free, and make sure you get another 3 points in there as well. And then just put yourself really very firm at that table in the African Cup qualifiers because it's not really been good for us. I mean, nobody is talking about it anymore now that we're not going to be going to the next under 17 World Cup and next female World Cup. We have all forgotten about it now. That is Nigeria for you. Only emotion. We don't look at things critically. Once it's done, we all move on. We don't talk about it anymore until the next one. I hope these boys don't fail to qualify. Only if that happens again, that's when we'll start complaining all over again. So it is what it is.
Fire. I wanted to take you on this issue of uh, uh, the foreigners playing for the Super Eagles or under 23 or even the Golden Eaglets. These guys, well, most of them probably do not recognize or know, not recognize. They recognize they're Nigerians anyway, but they
Yeah.
do not know. They do not know the country, and which is no fault of theirs if we have to look at it
Oh,
critically. Um, Wherever they're playing for example, someone like Joe Aribo, there's no way I think Joe Aribo will have played for the Three Lions of England. There's no way he will have
how?
done that. So there's no way he will have done that. Finally, bright talent. He used to play for Charlton before moving to the Scottish League. And you look at someone like Truce Ekong, who obviously would be
Not strange.
yeah. So and you look at them. There's no way these guys can play for those countries. Then they in order to further their careers, and again, no due to no fault of theirs, the technical department of the Super Eagles or of the NFA or whoever decided, all right, you know what, you guys are there, you bear Nigerian names. You might not know Nigeria, you might never come to Nigeria before, but because you bear Joe Aribo, you bear Arashi, you bear Amogbeja, you bear
Yeah.
Wale. So yeah, we now decide, okay, come on then, come and play for us. Is it an indictment on how football is growing in Nigeria, or is it the fact that these guys they have learned the rudiments of football wherever the country they might have been,
Mhm.
and then they would be of use. Another school of thought actually believe they probably will not be of use
Mhm.
when we qualify for the World Cup, but when it comes to playing in the African Nations Cup (AFCON), they might not be able to stand the test of time because when you're playing in Africa, you're playing against, for example, in Sierra Leone, you can count how many Sierra Leoneans are playing football abroad. You
Maybe
know,
one, if they say.
you know exactly. So would they be? So the issue now is, are they going to be able to stand the test of time, the strength, playing on pitches that they're not used to, and the weather they're not used to? Are they going to face those hurdles, so to say?
This your question is the reason why some of us that are extremely, because you can call me an extreme when it comes to the Super Eagles, because that's how it should be about our national team is. I want to ask you this question. I'm going to answer your question. Do you remember this Nations Cup qualifier against Sudan in 2000, I think, that we beat them 4-1 in Omdurman? Do you remember that
Yeah.
champion?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine any of these black Oyinbo boys playing in that particular match? Can you just imagine? The reason why I ask you that question is the pitch on that day was sandy.
Yeah.
The environment was extremely hostile. The weather was
Yeah.
unbelievably hot. But because the boys are Niger boys that grew up in different parts of the country, Lagos, Warri, Maiduguri, Kaduna, all of them coming together, even though at that time, most of them were professionals already playing overseas, but they are homegrown. They were able to survive. The answer to your question is simply that the leadership, which was what I mentioned the last time, that is the direction of the way the current leadership is focused on. And I can also not blame that particular person in charge because maybe the fact that he didn't play, but because he just have the opportunity to serve the Football Federation at a very high level, and then he now has the opportunity to serve at the federal level. So he's doing what he can or what he feels is best for the national team. But I think if we don't look inward, if we don't go back to basics where we have had our success, this thing is not going to last for long. The cooperation between the Nigeria Football Federation at the moment and the current head coach Gernot Rohr has worked for them based on based on the players they've been bringing to the national team. But they have not surpassed any record of previous local coaches. They have not. Stephen Keshi has done what Clement Westerhoff did for Nigeria, which is to win the Africa Cup of Nations and take Nigeria to the second round stage of the World Cup. What else do you want? So, which tells us that if we are patient enough, because that's the challenge of every one of us in this world today, if we are willing and patient enough to go back to basics, organize, I mean, it is really simple. That's why I was forced to write a book. Let these kids know what they need to do. Put them in the game at early stage in life, right? Let them play organized football. Introduce them to competition at early age. Let there be a formation. They want for them to evolve from youth, from under 10 to 12 to 15 to 17 to a national team who will have our success. This might not be a 5-year or 7-year plan. It might be a 10-year plan. But we need to have.
Bayo, sorry to cut you short. We don't do plans. We don't do long term.
That is why it is hurtful.
We want to qualify for the Nations Cup today. We want to win the Nations Cup today. We want to qualify for a World Cup. And we want to get to semi-final of the World Cup today. So that's what we want. So we don't care where, as far as I'm concerned, if it's
we just want to get results. We just want results. Investing. Yeah. It's like you want you to make profit now. I mean, that's why the issue of defrauding people is also so high back home. Like when somebody tells you invest 5,000 naira and I will give you 200,000 naira in December. Invest 5,000 naira in October, you get 200K in December. People jump at it. We are not critical thinkers. I've never put myself in a position to say I am the best or I can do this. But I feel if 1 or 2, 3 people can say, sir, we are not making any progress. Yes, we've had a lot of things they have in the pipeline and all that, but we are all waiting for them to execute. Because it's a different thing for you to have an idea, it's a different thing for you to have a plan, and it's a different ballgame entirely to be able to execute. So to answer your question summarily, it is a result of what our leadership is like at the moment. Our leadership is only focused on getting immediate results now. And then whatever happens behind them, that's your own problem. I heard this morning that they appointed Coach Pastor Karibo West, Julius Ahawa, and a couple of them into some particular group in the Nigerian Football Federation. That's a good thing. Those people actually play for Nigeria. They know how it is and be able to support. I also hear one of the former under 15 media officers tweeting this morning that the NFF is now willing to crack down on people that are taking advantage of young people and all that. And I'm like, coming from people that are doing the exact same thing, it is what it is. So I hope that the boys going forward in Africa Cup of Nations, because like you said, it takes you really having that understanding and that core value of you growing up at home in that same atmosphere that other people grew up, and to be able to succeed at the African level, at the world level. Yes, it's also different there. And maybe that's why we've not had so much success at the world level, because African football has not really growth at par with their counterparts in other parts of the world. But thank God our players are having the opportunity now to go out there to be able to like at least compete against them week in, week out. And who knows? I just believe that in my lifetime, I believe, and I'm happy we are recording this, that an African country, hopefully Nigeria, I'm hopeful that in my lifetime that was going to happen.
You know what? We're going to have a discussion about that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there's someone that's going to join us, a Ghanaian journalist. This is going to be very interesting. I've already said Nigeria is going to be the first person, first country to win the FIFA World Cup. And let's see what Benjamin Willie Graham says about that. Maybe he's going to say, no, Black Stars are going to be the first people, are going to be the first team.
I just want an African country that have
an African country. Okay, an African country.
I'm hopeful Nigeria will be. I'm hopeful to be Nigeria.
We're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about other things.
All right.
We'll talk about looking at African players in all the various leagues. So join us in a bit. We're going on a short break, and we'll be back soon. Hi there, welcome back. Welcome back to the football show. My name is Wally. It's a new show, and we've already been joined by Ali Arashi, all the way from Dallas, Texas. We've talked about the issue with regards to problems, not problems, but the issues bordering on development of football in Nigeria, first and foremost. So we looked into the 24-man squad that was announced by Gerard Rohr, the Super Eagles manager, head coach, technical advisor, whatever you want to call it. So Bayo is still with us, and joining us also, all the way from Ghana, is Benjamin Willie Graham. Benjamin, thank you for joining us. You're going to be joining us, obviously, alongside Bayo, who is still here. And we're looking at Africa really doing well in the Senior World Cup. We're not talking about the under 17s, the 20, under 23 now with the Olympic teams. We're looking at, can an African country really go a step further, get into the semi-finals, get into the finals of the World Cup? So we're looking at that, and obviously from there we would talk about some other issues. I think we've lost Willie. But we will get back to Byron. So when Willie comes back and can join in this conversation with us, so we will try as much as possible to re-establish contact with Willie in Ghana. And Bayo, if you're still there, so yeah, we looking at our footballers so far, especially in foreign leagues. I know it's still early in the season. Who would you think has impressed you so much so far, especially as far as the Super Eagles team list that you saw, that 24-man team list is concerned? I know we've got quite an array of footballers in abroad now. I'm sure if you had to look, if Afghanistan probably go a league, you probably will see a Nigerian there, because I know Nigerians playing in Vietnam already.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them playing in Vietnam. So looking around the world, especially in Europe. What would you say so far has impressed you?
Thank you very much for this opportunity again. I think some of them have really shined. Kelechi Iheanacho, for me, I think finally has listened and has decided, like, look, we, people saw this potential in me because we all saw it at that under 17 World Cup. That
Mm,
dude has a lot of potential. Yeah, for the past, I think, a month now, I've been following. In fact, because of him, I follow Leicester City because of him and the person I believe will probably be the next Super Eagles captain, the young midfielder. I believe who is injured, who is out injured now for Leicester City, Wilfred Ndidi.
with NDD, yeah.
I believe they've done very, very well. And I think Kelechi has been performing at a consistent level. I have to add that consistent level that we have always been expecting him to be. He has scored a couple of goals in the last few weeks. He has also had the opportunity because, like I always tell players, your coach will give you an opportunity if they know that you can perform. It is that easy. If your performance is consistent, if they know that, okay, you will deliver for me, they will always give you that opportunity. In the Europa League, Jamie Vardy was actually on the bench for him. He was a starter and he
Mm,
got 2 goals.
mm.
That's it. That's something for him. And also, I know I've been seeing, because I follow a lot of football blogs, I've been seeing a lot of friends of Victor Osimhen praying for him for his goal drought. And of course, he's had a really rough start to life in the Syria.
Napoli.
But so far, last week, just this last weekend, yesterday, he scored a long goal for Napoli against Bologna, which was a very good goal. And his celebration gave him thumbs up for that as well. He didn't. It was so easy. He acted like a professional, like what do I expect? I believe he's young, but he felt the goal was. I mean, I expect this. So the two of them so far have done very, very well. Chukwueze is also beginning to listen because people have been complaining about his performance. Like he's always dribble without end product. And I'm sure if you have watched him so far this
Yeah.
season, he always just dribbles and dribbles and dribbles and nothing happens. So I think he too has actually increased his performance and has been doing very well. Also, we have another one in Heska, Kelechi Wakali, also in the Spanish La Liga. He has also had some of his shot to be able to perform as well for in the Spanish La Liga. Not so many minutes though, but to be playing in the French in the Spanish La Liga, that's a big deal for me as far as I'm concerned. If you are not in the Premier League, you are not in the Serie A, not I mean French League on is probably the fourth level of it. But if you are in Spain, England, Germany, Italy, yeah, you are a top player as far as I'm concerned, and that should be the target of all our players. I had it when you said it now. That somebody's not playing in Cyprus. I don't even pay attention to players like that. I'm not judging them. I don't have to judge anybody, but I feel if you are talented, if you really want to play far in this game, you have to be at the top of the game at all times. So some of them are really shown for me.
Um, I will ask you a question on Osimhen. Once I've introduced Willie. Willie, thank you for joining us all the way from Ghana. How are you today?
It's it's great. It's a pleasure to be part of the show.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we're just talking about Nigerian players in Europe, and I'm very sure the whole of Ghana is probably uh, um, looking towards Thomas Partey. The saying here, especially in Arsenal, is no Thomas, no party. So give us Thomas, we'll have a party. And he's been doing well with Arsenal so far. Unfortunately, he got injured and got substituted the last game against Aston Villa yesterday, which obviously sadly they lost by 3-0, 3 goals to nil. Tell us the feel about of people in Ghana about his move from the Spanish La Liga, Atletico Madrid, to Arsenal. How are you people taking it?
I think that the point they want to make here is that Thomas Partey is the first Ghanaian. If I use the word the first Ghanaian player born in Ghana, raised in Ghana to play for Arsenal. And if you look at Arsenal history, you may have Ghanaian players who were born in UK or who were born to Ghanaian parents in Europe or any other place. But he is the very first Ghanaian to be born and raised in Ghana and to play for Arsenal. And that's the history for him. And that's the reason Ghanaians are excited. And the other thing, too, is that there is a little bit of a, I would say, a scuffle in Ghana regarding his developmental fee or so to speak about some clubs who raised him. And so currently, that's a tussle clubs that I mean, there's some narrative that says that his father had a coach club that raised him, and then an agent came and took him away. There's a football club called Tema Youth Football Club, whose president actually lost the FA elections in Ghana and went to CAS, but lost the case in CAS. Who's saying that he raised Thomas Partey by playing for his club. The reports are that he played for like 3 or 4 matches for him before he moved out there. So there's this little, I would say, fight in Ghana regarding who's going to take care of his developmental fee, if the money hit the bank and all that. But aside that, I mean, it's a huge thing for Ghana to have Thomas Partey play for Arsenal. And it's a huge thing that after Michael Essien, we eventually do have a Ghanaian player playing at the top flight in terms of the English Premier League.
And Ghana has always produced exciting players. I mean, anytime I think about Ghana, the name Abedi Pele comes to mind. He's for me. I know I met Abedi years ago, and we had the opportunity to talk. Such a brilliant player, and he's obviously got his sons that play in the English league. One in Crystal Palace, the other one in Swansea, and at about the time Abedi played in Marseille, we had Tony Yeboah, who played for Leeds. I mean, the Leeds fans, they will never ever forget Tony Yeboah. Looking at all these greats, especially zooming in to the English league, do you think Partey would be able to step into these shoes of people like Essien, Michael Essien, Tony Yeboah, and the likes? Do you think he has the mentality? I know he's done it for Atletico Madrid, but do you think he'll be able to comfortably adapt to the English league and obviously be a legend with Arsenal? As the Arsenal fans will obviously like that to be.
Great. I tell you what, Thomas Partey, yes, he's playing the English Premier League, but then before he burst into the scene, there were a lot of Ghanaians who didn't know who he was, because this is a player who did not play in the Ghanaian Premier League or play for any top flight league before moving to Spain. So he actually left the shores of the country after an agent scouted him playing a lower tier. And so he's not a household name in Ghana. He wasn't a household name in Ghana until he made his first debut call up there for the Black Stars. And so he's not typically a particular player I would say that he's got a lot of following in Ghana. Yes, now he's beginning to build that up, but before he made his first game for the Black Stars, he wasn't really a household. And let me tell you a story. I interviewed Derek Boateng, and I'm sure you know Derek Boateng, one of the top midfielders in Ghana who played at the World Cup back in 2006 and of course 2010. And he tells me that when he was playing in Spain, his club then did play with a club that Thomas Partey at the time was playing for, and he didn't know Thomas Partey was a Ghanaian. He thought he was a Nigerian until his teammate went to him and said that, hey, that's a Ghanaian brother. He said hi to you, and he said, yeah, I responded, but he said that's a Ghanaian. So he was surprised, like, really? So that's a Ghanaian? He didn't even know him. So that's what it is for Thomas Partey. So it's more like he's now warming himself into the Ghanaian fans, because a lot of people didn't know that this guy was a Ghanaian playing in Europe, because he left very early and nobody heard of him until we saw him play for Atletico Madrid, and everybody was like, oh, that's a Ghanaian. And then people started tracing his name and found out who his dad was and where he was coming from. And that was best aggressive player that you would say is all over the place. I mean, he's a very quiet guy, shy guy, who always want to be in his little space. So you wouldn't see him and how open they are. But Thomas is a very quiet player, and so yes, he can make it. Depends on how he carries himself. If he wants to be known, I'm sure he knows what to do. But if he keeps, if he tries to play the shadow sort of game where he doesn't want to be up there, he's just doing his job, just like he does for Arsenal anyway. He does his job simply and he goes to bed. If he wants to keep
Mm.
doing that, then I don't know how people are definitely going to see him. But I mean, he's just one quiet player we have in Ghana.
I'll tell you what, Ben, you guys are very lucky that you acted on time, that Derek Boateng acted on time, because otherwise we'll have nicked him from you. Since no one knew him in Ghana, Nigeria will gladly have taken him to come and play for the Super Eagles. But yeah, so before we went on the break, I was talking to my colleague Bayandi, and we're talking about the vision for Africa, to win the World Cup. Bayo already said, my colleague Bayo has already said that he hopes and believes in his lifetime an African country, no matter what African country now, is going to win the World Cup. Do you guys share that vision over there in Ghana that it's possible for an African country, no matter what country now, no matter what country, but an African country is going to win the World Cup in the near future? Do you share that belief?
He's already smiling.
Oh, it's very smiling. If you can,
I guess his network.
Ben is laughing. Okay, we'll try and reconnect. So Bayo, we've can you hear me now, Ben?
I think the network is really like
okay. So I think we've got a problem with the network. Bayo, we're talking about you had Ben talked so much about Thomas Partey there, and obviously you followed Thomas Partey when he was in Atletico Madrid.
Absolutely.
Is it something peculiar about players that are quiet? They go about their job and they don't seem to get that attention. People don't tend to know them. I know when same with Michael Essien when he was at Chelsea, he just went about his job. Quiet, rarely grants interviews. Does his job, go home, whatever. But on the pitch, he's an animal. He's a different person. Is that something? Does it have to do with the player psychology? You tend to see players like that are not really very well known, but when you see the flashy ones, people tend to know them. So break that down for me. I mean, especially with the fact that you go on academy and you obviously watch these players right from when they start.
You gave the answer right there. It all boils down to the psychology of the player, and I think that's why you had what Benjamin said as regards is colorful going on about this guy. Talking about I raised him, I did this. Remember, I mentioned it at the beginning of this show that if the leadership of a particular football FA does not have that vision to say, okay, the basis at all time here at our job here, I'm sorry I'm digressing a little bit. When something is not right anymore at the top, I don't know whether you heard it before. They would say, "Let's go back to the basis."
Yeah.
That's what people do in a normal and sane society. But to answer that question, it all has to do with how the player developed, who developed him, and who is currently in charge of that player, who is managing him. The flashy ones will always have those ones. For example, let me give you an example. In my own academy, you will not see any of my academy player pierce his ears or have some funny haircut. You can't even see that on me. So who would you like? Who are you trying to follow? Who is your mentor? Right. And I always ask them, who do you want to be like? Because there will always be myself. I still have someone I'm always looking forward to. I want to be like that person or even better that person. So it has to do with that person's psychology. It's a different thing for you to be told, like, let's do it this way. And it's different thing for you to accept and say, okay, I think what these people are saying is right. Let me follow it so that my life can be better for it. Who does not know Michael Essien? I mean, his record at Chelsea cannot be removed probably in the next maybe century to come. He was a beast for Chelsea Football Club and for Ghana. And you saw the difference between him and his other pair, Sule Muntari. I mean, both of them are hardworking players, but they are not the same kind of person. They are two different individuals. And we also one of the flashy ones from Ghana as well, Asamoah Gyan. He flashy, very flashy, but very fantastic football player. He also, when he gets to the field, he does his job, but had different mentality. So it all has to do with how you were developed and who is in charge of you currently, who is helping you develop your game further, and of course your relationship with people outside of the field of football.
Hmm. Benjamin, welcome back. I asked a question before the network problems came up. So, what
Very
do you
much.
think? Do you see an African country winning the World Cup at some point pretty soon? When I say pretty soon, maybe before we all call it a day on Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we have to look up what I call preparation, and preparation is very broad here. When you look at African teams that get into this stage, and I'll give you an example that before Ghana qualified for the World Cup back in 2006, it was a deliberate government policy to get Ghana qualified for the very first time at the World Cup, and of course it happened because government invested a lot of resources into getting the Black Stars to qualify. And so it wasn't a big surprise when the team actually made it back into Germany World Cup. Then the government left office and the new government came. Now, the new government that came also wanted to take credit that, okay, we also qualified Ghana to the World Cup. And so another deliberate policy was put together to get Ghana qualified to the World Cup, and that was 2010. Then the same government change in terms of leadership change. Whoever took over said, okay, my predecessor got Ghana to the World Cup. I must also do the same. So I also take the credit. And so resources are committed to get Ghana to the World Cup. And so then it tells you that it's what a state policy, deliberate, and everybody wants to make sure that something happens. The problem here is that if you look at the countries that have qualified for the World Cup from Africa, it becomes a deliberate policy of the government to ensure that the team does qualify because there's a lot of benefit that comes into the country. You're talking about tourism, you're talking about other investment that will be coming in and all that. But on the field of play is a different game altogether. You're talking about player investment. You're talking about resources committed to the technical direction of the team. And so you go in for expatriate coaches to get the team there. And they're also thinking about themselves. I mean, the history
Oh, so
they're going
we
to make
seem to be experiencing
for
our network
themselves.
problems again. We would.
I
Benjamin, can you hear us?
let
I think we experienced
yes,
technical problems again, network problems again.
Oh.
So we'll try and reconnect with you, Benjamin.
Ghana
Obviously, to talk more. This is becoming very interesting. Very interesting what you're saying.
Serbia for the
It is very interesting what you're saying.
Unfortunately, the network is not aligned.
It's so unfortunate. Can you hear me now, Benjamin?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh yeah, good. Go for it, Benjamin. Go for it.
Yeah. So what happens is that when Ghana played the first game and beat Serbia, the Serbian coach at the time did not want to even, give a high five to the assistant coach who was Ghanaian because obviously he wasn't happy. It's emotional. Ghana beats his country. So the problem basically has to do with how well the teams prepare when they get onto the field. Let's go back. Togo qualified for the World Cup and they had bonuses issue. And you remember what happened to Cameroon when they said they were not going to board the flight because they had bonus issues. Remember 2014, what happened to Ghana? A quality team, but because of bonuses, the team couldn't do well. Nigeria, I remember the Confederations Cup, quality team, they also created bonuses and the team couldn't do well. So the issue here is that it has everything to do with not just getting the team there, it's about managing the team at a tournament. And that's one of the things that the African teams haven't really been able to do. The other point too is that if you look at the target set by most African teams that they get to the World Cup, it's like, oh, when I get to the quarterfinals, I'm fine. At least everybody will know that I did better. Whilst the European teams are thinking of getting to the final and win cup, African teams are content with getting to the quarterfinals or the what? How many teams have even got to the semifinals? None, because that's not a target. Because remember when Nigeria got to the quarterfinals, it became a target for most African teams. That if Nigeria got to the quarterfinals, I can also get to the quarterfinals. And that's been the storyline. So until countries change mentality, until countries set a different target, that, you know what, we would get to the semifinal, we would get to the final. If that language is drummed home to the players, the technical team, to everybody, I am sure we can. But until such I mean, something is done. I mean, it makes it difficult for you to believe that yes, an African team can actually get to the finals and even win a tournament, because the target is not, for me, it's actually very below average. It doesn't really make sense in my opinion.
Bayo, Benjamin just said the government, essentially, when he says the country, which obviously I think she is talking about the government. She set a target. Should make concerted effort. Should that be a government issue, or should it be the footballing authorities? Because, for example, in England, I mean, Boris Johnson don't give a toss about if England wins the World Cup or not. If they win the World Cup, fine. But they've got the FA. They've got the FA. In Brazil, they've got the FA. Even though Brazil is a soccer mad country, same thing in Germany. So, do our governments in Africa, do they need to make that concerted effort to say, listen, whoever's in charge of football in there, I want you to go to this World Cup, and the least I want you to come back with is a bronze medal. Do they have to do that, or would that have to be the job of the federation?
I mean, you can do that, like Benjamin said, you can do that if you provide the resources, right? Because that is actually how it works at the moment. If something is working for you, then and you are investing in that thing, you expect a return on investment, absolutely. So they can say that to whoever the sponsor. But is it the right approach? And is this a sustainable approach? And is it a long-term approach? The answer is no. Because you said it now, insane climbs across the world, including now that South Africa is showing us that example as well. Probably them, South Africa, Tunisia, Algeria, and a couple of other North African countries are now handing off football to their football federation. Like, okay, let this thing be independent, like the way it is in every other nation, right? But we can, at this moment, we cannot separate football and government for now, because government are the one that is still putting the money out there for them. For example, the Nigerian Professional Football League cannot kick off for the past how many months now? 9 months, simply because there is no sponsor. They have a leader, but there's no sponsor, and government doesn't want to give them money. Glow is not coming forth. So the government will always have influence on the game. The only thing I think we have to do, like we have discussed at the beginning, is for our leaders to look forward, like, okay, how can we make this thing to be better from where it is now? How can we separate ourselves? What can we do? I mean, look at, of course, we know the rivalry between us and Ghana will always exist, right? But I as a business person, don't see Ghana as my rival. I see them first as, okay, I want these people to be successful. I want Cote d'Ivoire to be successful. I want Cameroon to be successful. But all these countries have the same way that football is being run. Government, they have the FA that they are controlling. And most of the people that are in the FA are government people, not football people. The same challenge we're having now with Nigeria that we discussed at the beginning of this show, that the NFF chairman or president is more focused on bringing in players that are born outside of Nigeria to play in the national team than for the homegrown players to be more in the national team. And how do we get homegrown players if our football league is not even in existence? So there's no way out of this thing except the governments are willing to do the right thing and just invest in making that football federation to be as independent as they can and reap the fruit on the long term. It's not going to be an immediate thing. It's going to take a while. But this is actually the approach that has worked in every other place and that can work for Africa and that can make what we are talking about at the end of the day of the possibility of an African country, hopefully, win the World Cup someday happen.
Benjamin, let's look at the Ghana Professional League. Okay, it obviously used to be a very strong league. I remember back in the days of Wafu Cup, when there's always that rivalry between Nigerian club sides and Ghana club sides. I remember the very, very interesting football clubs in Ghana, Ashanti Kotoko, Accra Hearts, and I remember the days of Sokandi Asakas. What is your Premier League like now? Do you have a sponsor? Is it ongoing? Are you producing enough players for not just the age group teams, or also for the Black Stars itself?
Well, I think, I understand why people say Nigeria and Ghana like Siamese twins. Whatever happens in Nigeria happens in Ghana. And that's how it is. I mean, and that's the truth of the matter here is that, and I have to be blunt here, and it goes the same way. What is the value
Okay, I think we got network
of
problems here.
the
Benjamin, you have to
Nigerian
restart from the beginning when you hear me, because
league?
we there's some interference with the internet or the network. Can you hear me, Benjamin?
And
Part of the
that
reason we are hoping that
of
after will get better.
Exactly. Exactly. So we'll try and reconnect with
What
Benjamin again, so we can talk about that. Um, like I said, we back in the days of Waffle Cup, when we used to have Waffle Cup, it used to be a very strong competition, and we used to also have the Ghana and Nigerian Academicals playing each other. Why did that disappear? We in Nigeria alone, we had the Principal Cup, where you could actually pick up players to play for the national teams. You know, so why did all this disappear? Why are we now? We've gone away with this. That genuine rivalry between Nigeria and the West African neighbors, the Waffle Cup, and all those competitions. Why have they disappeared? I mean, it was good
Bro,
for all countries.
it goes back to all we've been saying all day. It just go four sides of the leaders. And you know the unfortunate thing, these people we're talking about, they all visit the United Kingdom every time. They
Yeah.
visit Germany and the European countries every time. They come
You
to
see
the
them come and
US
watch Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man United all the time.
they see how things are working. And I don't think I'm naive, but I believe that as an entrepreneur, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, one of the things you have to do is to monitor someone that is already doing what you want to do and just copy the person. Let me use our local language. Just copy him or her, and success will be yours. So
Mm.
it is not hard. It is really not hard. It's just that people are not just ready, or we're not just serious. What is so difficult in bringing back? That's why I mentioned back to basics. What is so difficult in bringing back Principal Cup in Nigeria? I mean, even I finished secondary school in 1994, and I remember somebody that we talked the other day we just met somehow. We're talking about my school and his school, and one of the things we both of us remembered, you won't believe it, was Principal Cup. The days of Principal Cup, that people
Yeah.
boys will carry a lot of we that we cannot play. We carry a lot of things in our bag to fight in case they want to rob us. And it was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun. Apart from the football, the entertainment, the arguments, those things are no more now.
Mm.
My kids are in secondary school in Nigeria. I have two of them in secondary school in Nigeria. They don't even have a football pitch in their school. It's a private school. They don't even have a football pitch to start with.
Wow.
How do you want? So just look at it from that angle. How would this kid even be interested in any sport when it is all about book? I mean, we all went to school. I didn't study mass communication. I studied radio and television, electronics, engineering. I'm a broadcaster today. I'm talking sports. How does that have to? What does that have to do with my education? But unfortunately, many of them are not looking at it that way. They are not willing to make any change. They just want this to just keep going the way it's going. There are in every government, in every country, there are institutions. You mentioned the England and Boris Johnson. He has no business with it. I read a book about the FA, the English Football Association, of how the Premier League became what it is today. Through one man that was appointed as the FA chairman. I said, okay, now I want to make the Premier League dependent from the FA as well. Let's give the Premier League its own independence. Yes, the FA controls them, but let it be on its own. And they appointed someone, not even a football person, because I know that very well, that he's not a football person. He is an accountant. He came in, and the Premier League today, I think it's only American football that has much more, that has a bigger budget than the English Premier League in the entire world. So all it takes is the vision of one person that is willing to make a change, that is willing to say, let us go back to the way things are done in climes that are working. Let us have a template that somebody after us can follow up on and also get some sort of success. It is not a rocket science, bro. It is not hard. People are not just willing to do the right thing.
Before we go, one of our commentators, someone that's made a comment on the show, said, "You guys are just talking about the Premier League. What's happening to the Spanish league?" so quickly before we go, just I think you just got about 5 minutes before we go. The Spanish league, Benjamin, Pates left Atletico Madrid. The issue with Messi and Barcelona and what have you. Where does that leave Messi? Do you think, in your opinion, both of you, I'm starting with you, Benjamin, do you think that this is the last season Messi is going to spend in Barcelona?
For sure.
Benjamin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think his network is still
okay. Finally, what do you think?
For sure, I think Messi is gonna say goodbye. The only reason why he couldn't go, we all know, like there's no club that will be willing to activate that clause. There's no club that will be willing to pay.
Can you hear me loud?
Let him go ahead.
Let's hear you.
All right, go ahead, Benjamin. So tell us, is this?
Hello.
Is this the swan song for Messi?
Yeah.
And Barcelona. Oh, I think.
Yeah.
I think Christine.
So.
Go on, Benjamin. We can hear you now.
If you look at the acrimonious way that led to Bartolomeo leaving, it tells you that things are not working the way they should.
Mm. Okay. So, Barry, your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just breaking in.
Yeah. So
Benjamin.
It's difficult. It's going to be difficult. The teammates around him, for instance. I hope I'm still breaking up, or I'm okay now.
Yeah, it's still really breaking up.
It's still breaking up.
I really look forward to connecting with us.
Let's round up. And so, what do you think? Who is going to take Messi now? Where is he going to end up?
We all have to wait. I mean, there was a lot of noise about him reconnecting back with his mentor Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. But I mean, one of the things you have to look at in general is the standard of this person we mentioned. Is he a competitor? Yes, he is, without any doubt. He likes to compete. People have been talking about him leaving Barcelona to really prove himself and all that. I'm also one of them. But his reaction before the season started really showed that he was done. Like he really wants to have another opportunity. I mean, he's in his 30s now. I think 33, if I'm not mistaken. He knows they probably have 1, 2, maybe 3 years more that he can really play, not at the level he used to be, but at least to still play at a very high level. Who knows? I would love to see him in the English Premier League, absolutely. And who knows? He might go back to Real Madrid. This is football. There's nothing impossible. He might choose to go to PSG. Who knows? I mean, that's why I said we just have to wait and see. And then there was even this graphics that was done with him and Ronaldo finally playing together for Juve in the Serie A. So all we have to do is wait. But definitely, I think his days are numbered at Barcelona. I think he has won everything. There's nothing for him to prove. He's definitely a cult boy. He's a Barcelona great. And anybody that will outdo him will have a lot of work to do.
Thank you for that, Byron. Next week, we'll be reviewing the Super Eagles first leg, and also we'll be talking more on the issue. We'll talk more about the Premier League, the Italian League, and obviously the Messi issue, and even with Pep Guardiola. So thank you so much. This is the first
Thank you,
edition
sir.
of the football show. Thank you, Bayonle, for joining us, and thank you, Benjamin, for joining us from Accra, Ghana.
Thank you so much.
Bayonle,
Thank you.
it's always a pleasure talking to you about football.
My
Next week we continue. We continue again.
continue.
So
All right.
thank you, and have a nice week.
Enjoy the rest of your week, sir. Bye bye.
And you too, thank you. So that's the football show for today, the maiden edition. If you like the football show, please subscribe to the channel. And obviously, there's so many wonderful news with football I actually learned about today, especially with regards to what happened to Thomas Partey. Follow us, and next week Monday is another day where we'll be talking football. Until then, my name is Wale. Have a great week ahead. Thank you.